Chris.
Sir.
Tell us a little bit about your journey and gusto and
so for those of you who don't know, gusto, or gusto, depending on where you live in the world, it's, the world's best food channel. And we launched in Canada 6 years ago as a linear pay television channel. Now we're seeing throughout the United States and Latin America. Here, for those of you who live in Singapore, we're on Star Hub 424, Philippines, some other deals that we hope to announce here at the market in Europe as well. 100% of the content that you see on Gusto is produced by Gusto. We shoot everything 4K, we do everything from recipe development to bobblehead dolls, cookbooks, and we're about to launch our e-commerce service as well, which we've been working on for about 2 years.
Thank you. And Jin, tell us a little bit about your role in television and what you're doing.
Hello, my name is Jin-woo from CJENM. CJENM is a content marketing and creative company in Korea. What I'm trying to introduce is one of our pay TV channel called Olive. Olive is 19 years old channel, which will be turning to 20 years old next year. It was one of the very first food channel in Korea. And basically what Olive channel is trying to focus in actually 5 strategies. One is they try their best to promote the Korean food. And 2, they try to discover new culinary talents. And 3, using the food show, food content into a digital space. And 4 is focusing on the new lifestyles generated from food.
If food shows are personality driven, how do you find these personalities that can do these shows? We've seen celebrity chefs, we've seen personalities, we've seen celebrities doing cooking shows. How do you go about finding the talent?
Well, we're constantly looking. We have full-time people who do nothing but casting. And up until 2 years ago, our casting was focused on North America. Now it's also here in Asia. We expect to begin producing programming over here in 2020 now that we've established a foothold here and growing an audience here as well. Finding people, Gusto is all about, we say there's one true global language and that's food. We speak all dialects at Gusto. Finding people who are passionate about their cultures, about their food, but equally important, it doesn't matter how great your chef skills are. What's important is that you find people who have the ability to make emotional connections. Emotional connections through television, whether it's on a little screen or a 56-incher, 8K in your home, the ability for someone to be sucked in through that camera lens, digitized, chopped up into little pieces, and either bounced off of a satellite in outer space or sent across the internet into your home, and you say, wow, I like that person. And making that emotional connection is very, very difficult. We've been doing this for 22 years. We have a boot camp that we put our hosts through, but it has to start with something that is innate inside of you, and that we can teach. And that's what we're always on the lookout for. People who are who can love and who are as passionate about their cultures as we are.
Fair enough. I got a question about content, because there seems to be a lot of dietary concerns, and we're making food pornography when I watch a culinary show. 50% of China is now pre-diabetic. 7 of the 10 leading causes of death are diet-related. Are we digging our graves with our teeth? Where can food go in the health and wellness space with all of this that's happening globally?
Actually, that's a very tricky question because of course, it's always important to focus on dietary and nutrition when you're dealing with food as a genre, because people believe what they see, what they hear in the screens, and obviously a lot of audiences and a lot of people try to test. So what we also have to focus is, if we provide something that you eat a lot, then you, at the same time, you have to provide something that you have to approach into a healthy program. So that was the reason why one of the key creative ideas for Olive Channel from this year was to have a kind of a diet healthy program. So we launched a new show. It's a regular show called This Is My First Day. So basically, we keep focus about how to start your dietary program in a basis of the first day. And the reason why we do that in a food channel is because that's a kind of a lifestyle content that we really want to focus.
Sticking to that, because I was talking about food pornography. Now we're also, this is interesting because I'm a vegetarian and you just showed me a video of, well, what's the exact words, description?
I have to apologize that I always forget how to pronounce it. It's called ASMR, and it's an acronym for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Basically, it's a mixture of sounds and the visuals of cooking food or eating food. So nowadays, maybe some of you have heard there's a word called mukbang in Korea. It's actually eating show, and all you do is you have a 2 to 5 minute video clip and you see celebrities or people or YouTubers just eating. And now what's going around in Korea, and not just only Korea, and it's been expanding, is you beginning to focus more on sound of cooking, like sizzling sounds, boiling sounds, and you actually trying to focus on these visuals of cooking, boiling, or even eating, crunching, chewing. So like a lot of these sounds or visual was some kind of a maybe some people say it's a food porn, but now it's becoming to taking position as a content. And I guess now these internet content style are now actually moving into a long-form content. And speaking of long-form content, some Korean shows are now beginning to focus more on eating shows with using these ASMR techniques.
So instead of cooking, we're watching people eat.
Can I add to that? So ASMR is very interesting, but the power of food television and where we're trying to bring the nexus of technology with Gusto is something more profound and more elemental than that. So if we do our job properly, which we do, our programming can reach you at a physiological level. I can make your pupils dilate, I can make your mouth water, and I can make your stomach run. And that is a very powerful emotional connection that you can make with your viewer. I've traveled all over the world this year, too many places, too many countries. Everywhere I go, every forum and market like this, we talk about what? VX, viewer experience. Fragmentation of market, how do we get people to come back? How do we get people to engage? When I overlay our digital metrics on top of our EPG, I see real-time engagement. Somebody's watching one of our shows, they pick up a second screen, a tablet, they go to gustotv.tv, they click on the recipe icon while they're actually watching the show, and they download that recipe. Then you go to the store and you buy those ingredients, and you make it for your family, and if your family loves it, we've just become part of your life. You come back, and you come back, and you come back, which is why we're now launching our e-commerce business, because we've been part of creating the need and now we want to be part of filling it as well. So you can really reach powerfully at a very instinctual level in reach people with food programming in a way that you can't do with other stuff.
I'm always a bit confused because I've been watching food shows since I was a kid when it was black and white. And when we went from the Dump and Stir show in the studio to the travel show to the competition show to the Eat as Much as You Can show, where does it, we're going to get to cartoons? Where's it all going, do you think?
Well, there are some cartoons out there.
Cartoon food shows?
Yeah. There are some cartoons out there. The genre is evolving and changing just as people's consumption, pardon the pun, habits are as well. The trick is trying to find new ways to tell stories, right, guys? It's trying to find ways where it's not just the host du jour standing in front of the location du jour doing the same thing that you've seen 1,000 different times. People have so many choices that they deserve better entertainment. And in fact, we remind ourselves of that every day at Gusto. So we remind ourselves that when people go home and they watch television, whatever your delivery method is at the end of the day, you crack a beer, you get a glass of wine, and you watch television. You do this for one reason only, that is to be entertained. And for a significant percentage of the population, you choose to be entertained by food programming. We're in the entertainment business. And then, when you go, holy crap, that looks good, you go to our website, now we're in the inspiration business. And then when you download the recipe, only then are we in the teaching business. So for us, it's all about entertainment and finding new ways to tell stories. So we did a show recently called DNA Dinners, which is kind of a travelogue through your DNA, where we find people who are unsure of their backgrounds, we swab them, and we take them on an adventure. And we show them who they are through their cultures and how they celebrate with food, because we all celebrate with food.
Jin, what's happening on your side?
It's actually very similar to what Chris just said, like the DNA food. It's in old days, basically cooking show only focused on cooking or just eating. Nowadays, we have a show called Wednesday Gourmet. It's actually running for 2 years, and basically Wednesday Gourmet, no one goes to the restaurant, no one goes to eat, no one's eating. All they do is they just, 6 celebrities, they just gather in one studio and they just talk about, they chat about one dish. And basically they bring out all the history of the food, the history of the ingredient, the background stories, the traditions of how to eat, how cooking, and basically it's more kind of like a cultural, informative show. And surprisingly, it was the highest rating show in a weekday prime time for the last 3 years, and people are beginning to get more used to have and enjoying more knowledge of actually seeing in screens, and even becoming more emotional of how actually they share their experiences through food.
What's reading for you, Chris? What's reading higher for you on your platform?
So we don't take a tentpole approach to our programming. We sort of look at it in terms of our programming schedule. So I'd like to say all of our shows do incredibly well. But there is a sense of nostalgia now, so we have a show called Flower Power that does really well. DNA Dinners does really well. It really also varies from market to market we're in, because now we're on from Canada all the way down to Venezuela and in multiple Asian markets, so it changes from market to market. So for instance, our hosts include, so here's an interesting thing. So depending on the market we're in, but on average, about 66% of our market is, our audience is female. But what we found also is that almost 40% of our audience is under the age of 40. Almost 40% of our audience is under the age of 40. So if you're wondering where millennials are, they're watching Gusto. So we did a little bit of a deep dive. So here's the thing. For millennials, the upper end of that cohort, the most sought after cohort, right? When they go home tonight, you know what they're going to do? They're going to plan their 40th birthdays. They have mortgages and babies, some of them even have cars. And what we found through our research was that millennials, and again on the upper end of the corner, are interested in entertaining again. They're interested in food and they're interested in cooking. They don't eat out as often. I see a lot of people nodding their heads in the audience. But when you do eat out, you want a better dining experience. You are willing to pay more for your groceries if there is a cost attached. Farm to table, organic, sustainable fisheries. And these are all values that are reflected in Gusto programming. Our hosts are from Thailand, Japan, Philippines, India, China, Italy, Spain, France. We even found out a way to make British food, Canadian, American, Mexican, Argentinian, Venezuelan, and I'm missing a whole bunch. So it's bringing a world of culture to Gusto.
Jim, cooking shows, are they changing the lifestyles in Korea as consumers, eating out more or cooking less or shopping?
Mostly these food, like Olive, they focus on 15 to 39 age group, mostly females. And the reason why we try to focus that is because almost once or twice in every week, people are beginning to enjoy fine dining. And people trying to enjoy their fine dining by trying to have a very similar experience what they saw in screens. And not just only fine dinings, the lifestyles of these females are beginning to expand into shopping. So a lot of people, especially female consumers, they started to search for better utensils, better cookwares and foodwares, cookwares and ovens, even electronic devices. And speaking of cookware, because I really want to have a PlayStation 4 VR for my Christmas present 2 years ago. So I had to ask my wife, what do you really want for Christmas? So I was thinking about visiting like Celine or Louis Vuitton in Christmas before while I was visiting ATF, and then she showed me a footage of a copper baking set. Is that really what you want to have? And she told me, this is the it item. This is the it classy it item. And basically it's a copper-made bakeware. And I was very surprised, and it actually provides something special to these female consumers.
Well, they're very difficult to clean, so good luck with that. On your side, the economics, because I don't understand the economics of television, I'm just a TV presenter. So is there like the back end of books and culinary equipment and ingredients that Gusto's involved in? And what is that in the business model?
Sure. So there was an earlier panel here where somebody was up here and said, content is really expensive to make. And it is, right? It's how do you monetize the content and how do you make it? Food programming is, we have a built-in audience. We have highly motivated people who are watching our programming, who are very interested in the products that we're making. We have done multiple cookbooks based on the shows themselves. And interestingly enough, hard copy cookbooks is probably the only area of publishing that has not been diminished by the advent of the internet. The recipe on the planet is available on the internet. Cookbooks remain strong. People want to hold them in their hands. So we are now moving into e-commerce. As I said, we've been working on it for 2 years. And there are 3 legs to our e-commerce strategy. One is home delivery meal kits based on recipes that you see in the shows. The second is white label ingredients that you can only get through our kitchens. And the third is advertising and marketing strategies with bricks and mortar advertisers, grocers, grocery stores. So it's very, very symbiotic. The nexus of technology is there. And that's, for me, the exciting part of the food genre is really having an opportunity to immerse ourselves into our viewers' lives beyond just getting their attention for an hour or so every night.
I just really want to add what Chris just said. One of the biggest revenue drivers for Olive Channel is the meal kits. It's the very similar or simplified kind of technique to how to cook the show that you saw in screen. And that's a great way to make more revenues out of e-commerce, and actually that's one of the most important part that everyone's trying to focus right now.
Interesting. So we got a question and answers. We're running out of time. I have one question here from the audience. I'm of the age where I have to wear glasses, so I'm not going to fake it. Sorry. Yeah. This is for Jin. A food show about actually eating sounds intriguing, but how do you ensure that there's not too much talking heads? Too many people that just chat.
I don't know. So basically, I'm an old school producer, and first when I saw these eating shows, mukbang shows, I just couldn't understand. And I even told to my colleagues, why do we watch this? Why do we watch people eat? And then, if you keep watching the show, then it's like what we've been keep telling about. It's emotion. And if you see someone eating a fried chicken, or you see someone eating a beef stew with a lot of sounds, noises, and like gulping, and then the first thing that you might decide is, should I have a beef stew for dinner? And that's how it goes.
Actually, I saw this video, and it's not normal. It's like the sound effects in a movie where when they rip the chicken and it's crispy and they bite it and the juice is coming down their face. It's a new form of like eating porn. A question here, upcoming trends for food content. What formats are in demand?
What formats? Well, I could get in a lot of trouble for how I answer this. Depending on who you talk to, the contest format, I think, will continue to be strong in big budget, shiny floor shows. But in smaller budget programming, I think the competition shows are running out of space. One of my competitors managed to get the words baking and wars in the title of the Christmas show. And so when it gets down to that, it becomes a little bit derivative. People are always interested in traveling and exploring the world, so traveling shows will continue to be big. It's all about the talent, though, and the new way into the question. Plug for our show for DNA Dinners. We've had a tremendous amount of format interest in that because it's a new and original way of telling a story.
But travel shows are really expensive. I mean, there's a lot of risk if you don't rate. How do you go about making that decision?
Yeah, I mean, co-productions work in our case because we're over here, we want to shoot here. As we grow in Latin America, we want to shoot there as well as in the United States and in Canada. For us, the travel part of it is, localization is more than subtitling and dubbing a show. So we're here for the long haul. We want to be in Asia, so we should be shooting over here.
Well, my career started because of MDA. So without their money, I would be sitting here with you gentlemen. You have the travel shows too, right? And tell us a little bit about those.
Speaking of travel shows, one of the best things that we should do is go to tourism board. They just love it. They always open for great sponsorship, especially connected food. And I think food itself is becoming one of the major factor of travel, because if you see in the 1 minute rating of these ratings research, the highest point of each these travel shows sometimes just eating or focusing food. So good traveling is also connected with a good eating, and somehow it always connected and combined together. And I think it will keep going on and on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're out of time now. Thank you so much. Chris, thank you so much for being here. And Jin, thank you. A global food CEO expert and a regional force. Gracias mille.